Right, children. Good morning. Yesterday, we had studied about the Canadian Shield, and we had also studied about the Western Cordillera. The next thing which we are going to begin with is the Appalachian Mountains. So if you could just look at the east coast, the Western Cordilleras, as the name suggests, were in the west, and the Appalachians are in the east coast. So these Appalachian Mountains, they are just like the Western Cordilleras, but they are old fold mountains. The Western Cordilleras, they were young fold mountains and therefore were quite high. But on the other hand, the Appalachian Mountains, they are old fold mountains and therefore they have been under the influence of erosion and denudation for a longer period of time. So even though previously the Appalachian Mountains, they used to be very, very high, they have now been eroded and lowered. And what is their average height? Right now their average height is about 1200 to 1500 meters. As you can see, the Appalachian Mountains, they lie parallel to the east coast. So this is the east, this is the west where the Western Cordilleras are, the north and the south. So Appalachian Mountains lie in the east coast and they are quite parallel to the east coast as well. Which means, look at this curvature. Again, the Appalachians are also more or less in a curved fashion located in the east coast. Now, what is the extent? They lie from Newfoundland. Newfoundland is somewhere over here. This is the Newfoundland. From Newfoundland in the north to Alabama and Georgia. Can you see this Alabama river? The river is flowing through the state of Alabama, Georgia. So it extends from Newfoundland in the north to Alabama, Georgia in the south. So please underline the average height of these mountains. Underline parallel to the eastern margin. Underline from Newfoundland north. Underline Alabama, Georgia, south. So in totality, this mountain range is about 2,500 kilometers long. If you remember, the highest point of North America was Mount McKinley, and it was located in the Western Cordilleras. Over here, Mount McKinley. On the other hand, the highest peak of the Eastern Highlands, that is the Appalachian Mountains, it is Mount Mitchell. Mount Mitchell is about 2037 meters high. The eastern slopes of the highlands facing the Atlantic Ocean are steep. So, if you think about the mountains here, the eastern slopes that face the Atlantic Ocean, they are higher than the gently sloping western portion. So you can see that it's written interior lowlands. So this is where the land is becoming low. So since the land is becoming low, obviously the slopes are also going to be more gentle and low on this side compared to on this other side. And I'll be sharing the Piedmont Plateau once again with you. Do you remember when we were doing plateaus, there were different plateaus which we had talked about. Intermontane Plateau, Volcanic Plateau. So one of them was Piedmont Plateau. Now Piedmont Plateau is a plateau that is located at the foot of a mountain. If you remember, we had given the example of the Patagonian Plateau in South America, which lies at the foot of the Andes mountain. So here again we find a Piedmont Plateau. The mountains are over here, they are sloping towards Atlantic Ocean, and this area is a plateau area at the foot of the mountain known as the Piedmont Plateau. Now all the rivers that are flowing towards the Atlantic Ocean, naturally they have to cover the Piedmont Plateau. So they move like this, then they move in a step or stair-like formation before joining the Atlantic Ocean, where they make a number of waterfalls all along the length of the Piedmont Plateau. So obviously, it's like if there are stairs and you're pouring water with a great force down the stairs. So naturally, the water will come to the break of the stair, then they'll come to the break of the stair, then they'll move flat, then again they'll come to the break of the stair, and in this way they are going to make a series of waterfalls or cascades. So this is exactly what happens here in the Piedmont Plateau, near the Piedmont Plateau, and this series of waterfall is known as the fall line. And since the water falls with a high velocity and from a great height, they are excellent sources of hydroelectric power generation.